this is Teacher Precious. In this video, we'll be discussing the pros and cons of using paper and pencil versus the digital pen tool in creative online teaching and learning. Also, we'll be giving away a digital pen tool to one of my lucky subscribers. Stay tuned for the mechanics of our gadget giveaway by the end of this video. Years ago, we used to hold face-to-face classes in a physical classroom setting. We have the whiteboard, the blackboard, the cartolina, and the manila paper. But now, we are limited to holding classes within our homes. One of the biggest struggles of our teachers today is how to teach visually or creatively online. This poses a challenge to art teachers, but not only art teachers like me, but also to teachers who rely heavily on visuals. Did you know that according to research, around 65% of the general population are visual learners? That means these people, including me, can learn more if we see what we're supposed to learn. It is also said that the brain can process images 60,000 times faster than regular text. Years back, when I used to teach science, I always used live drawing to explain concepts, especially abstract ones. Like in chemistry or in physics, where it's quite difficult to grasp the concept, I usually explain it through illustrations and I draw it live. What's nice when you make illustration live or animated, live means you're gonna do it on the spot, where students get to see the image being completed as the lesson proceeds. It is more engaging because the students are always curious. They are always anticipating what will come next. And it's a great idea to present your ideas one at a time. That's why being able to draw live instead of presenting the whole image as a finished product can be more engaging and easier to understand. Now, if you're using a paper and pencil in your online classes, that's fine. But if you're looking into using a digital pen tool as a new way to teach or learn online, then you might have to consider the following. Who is it for? Are you going to teach preschool or the lower elementary? Are you going to teach a senior high school? Or maybe you're a professor in college? Also, what is your purpose? What do you want to teach? Do you want a class that's engaging? Or do you want to be included in the video because you want to build that connection, a strong connection to your students? Do your students already know how to write on paper and pencil? Are you going to use graphs, mind maps, illustrations, and diagrams? Also, what are your resources? Do you have enough space? Or do you only have a small space? Do you have a budget for that? What's your workflow like? Do you need to save these files digitally? What's the most available to you? Now let's proceed to the pros or advantages of using a traditional paper and pencil in online teaching. First, using a paper and pencil is a great way to model a skill or a behavior. This is very important because our hands gives a more sense and a more concrete way to provide visual tracking to our students. Mas madali sundan kapag nakikita ng estudyante ang kamay ni teacher. This is very important, especially for preschool who are still in the process of mastering their fine motor skills. That's why in my art class, especially when I teach younger students, I have to model not just the hand that's holding the pencil, but also my other hand who serves as the way to secure the paper, because when we draw, remember, you have to use both hands, not just one hand, but you have to use both. And what better way to do that than to model it by including it in my videos. So when you use a camera like that, a traditional paper and pencil, you can see the teachers, the way the teacher does the letters, does the drawing, even the texture of the paper, the texture, the erasures, everything that's part of the physical experience of writing, it will be included in that traditional way of using a paper and pencil. Also, when we do paper and pencil, it can also be more engaging. Example, if I'm going to teach art and want to show how it's done, including me, I can put up a whiteboard on an easel so that you can see what I'm doing. If you're familiar with Bob Ross, that's his style. So when I present and when I draw live, it has this classroom vibes. Some teachers or professors even use a traditional whiteboard to show the explanation. This is actually also easier, especially for people who prefer a more simple approach. Now, let's discuss the disadvantages of using paper and pencil in online teaching. First is the workspace. For me, when I do the traditional paper and pencil and I need to set up the camera, actually I need a bigger space because aside from that, I have the computer, my keyboard, and not only that, I have my other materials, the paint, the markers, the tissue, and my script, my lesson plan, all on the table. So that means I need more space. I saw that some teachers do that on the floor. That means they teach on the floor because that's the only bigger space that they have. And that's one of the disadvantages because you'll be needing a bigger space if you're using a traditional paper and pencil. Also, if you're using a fixed phone or webcam as an overhead camera, not all devices have a zoom feature where you can zoom in the details. So in my case, I'm using my phone and I cannot just zoom it because it's covered by the clamp. So I had a hard time zooming in. Sometimes I just lift the paper. But now I'm using a mic stand so I can adjust the distance of the camera to the paper. For me, it's very important to be able to zoom in the details so that the students will not be confused on what to look at because the illustration can be very overwhelming. So it's easier for them to process, so what part are we now? If you're zoomed in a specific region. Unfortunately, in a traditional paper and pencil, unless you zoom your paper in front of the camera or unless your camera has a zoom feature, you can focus on the details. And of course, if you're using a paper, pencil, and markers, that means you have to consume them. You'll have to buy them in the store, which is now kind of quite difficult to purchase. And actually, yes, you'll be consuming a lot of paper and ink. Now, let's go to the pros of using a digital pen tool in online teaching. First, it's kind of eco-friendly because you don't need to use a lot of paper and you won't be consuming inks and markers. Next, you can also save more space. It only needs a small area in your workspace, so all you need is your computer and this. Okay, see? Special thanks to Wacom for sending me this gift. Also, it has features such as you can erase or undo by typing Ctrl-Z. You can copy and paste your illustrations. You can save them on your presentation. You can make multiple copies. If you need to sign a document, you just sign it and then you send it. Okay, you can annotate directly on reference photos. Annotate means writing directly on the diagram or in the illustration. Okay, and also you can also make animations and doodles. Now, for the cons of using a digital pen tool, first of all, the user should have mastery of their handwriting. That means they should be able to, write on paper legibly. It will be a weird feeling at first. Even me, even if I already have a tablet before, and then I got some 3 years of not using it. Then when I got this from Wacom, okay, it took me a while to get used to it because the feeling is different if you're writing on a surface, but you're looking on something else. You'll be writing here, but you'll be looking at the monitor. So that will require hand-eye coordination, which may be suitable for older kids. Younger kids can also use this, but it needs some practice. Another thing is that you'll be needing an application for this. But the Wacom Intuos as a free application where you can annotate, you can make animations, you can draw, make presentations with that free software. Also, the cost. Of course, a tablet or a digital pen tool is more expensive than using paper and pencils. So you would have to consider it as an investment if you're really deciding to get one. Now for the conclusion, it will all depend on your audience, your purpose, and your resources. Remember that these are both great tools for teaching and learning. Each has advantages and disadvantages. Whether you choose a paper and pencil or a digital pen, the greatest tool that we all have that we can use is our creativity. Just in case you're thinking of getting a digital pen tool, you're in luck. Because I asked Wacom if they can give us another set that we can give away for our teachers and for my subscribers, and they agreed. So here are the mechanics if you want to join our gadget giveaway. Simply like this video, click subscribe, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you'll be updated once I post new videos. What you're gonna do in 150 words or less, just comment us your story, who you are, what you do, what are some of the challenges that you faced for distance learning, and why do you want a digital pen? How will it help you? The commenter with the best answer and the most number of likes wins a One by Wacom. We will also be selecting 4 consolation prizes who will be getting the limited edition Wacom Artist Gloves. I'll be looking forward to your comments. Do you know somebody who might find this video helpful? Please share the link to them so you can learn together. Again, this is Teacher Precious and thank you for watching. See you!